Okay, so welcome back to our first module, part 2. Today we are talking about the second order of love. Can you remind me what we talked yesterday about? What was the first order of love?
Is
belonging,
Yes,
destiny.
very good. The first order of love is belonging. Yeah, very good, Misha. And what does that mean? Can somebody else answer that? What does belonging mean?
To be recognized from your family.
Say it again.
Be recognized from your family. Blood family.
Who belongs to a family system?
Yes. Okay.
That's the first order of love. Yeah. So that is something that you really want to learn. The 3 orders of love. The first order of love is belonging, where you understand who belongs to a family system. The second order of love is who comes first, or the order of precedence. Because now that you know who belongs to a family system, now we need to know in which order they come. Okay. So what we are looking at today is the order of precedence, or in German called Ursprungsordnung. We are also looking how that looks, or we are understanding how that looks like in so-called patchwork or blended family, which is of course something that we have nowadays in family constellation a lot, almost the rule rather than the exemption. We will also look briefly at the order in organization while we are at it. However, we will look in module 5 separately also at systemic constellation and organization constellation. So this is just a brief touch on this issue, on this topic. We will also talk about family constellation and phenomenology. And we will actually start there to get that out of our ways. So, Bert Hellinger has developed his mythology, family constellation, in the phenomenological way. Is this a word that you're familiar with or not? No. Okay. So then I will talk you through what that means. The definition is study of things as they appear in our experience. Yeah, then forming a rule, finding similarities, and then forming from there a rule. And then the rule is tested, and then you have a result. And that is the academic approach, or the so-called scientific approach, is different because you start with a hypothesis. In family constellation, we do not start with a hypothesis. Yeah. In a scientific approach, we start with a hypothesis, and then we try to find proof for this hypothesis through experiments. Yeah. What would be the downfalls of this situation if you understand, since we had this breakthrough of quantum physics starting 1920s, and many more, how can I put it, many more experiences since then, how the mind is actually altering our reality. Yeah. Meaning, when you have a preconception, what you will see or create will somehow align with it. If you have a hypothesis, you will find a way to prove it, most likely. Yeah. But if you go with the phenomenological approach, You have a complete open mind. You are solely observing. And that is what Bert Hellinger did. He was only observing. He had absolutely no idea what he was not seeing in order. He had this concept of order not in his head. He had not a hypothesis who belongs to family system at all. He was just observing when he was working with groups and how they act and behave. And this is the way he found out who belongs to family system, meaning who has an impact and who hasn't. Remember yesterday, for example, siblings and former partners have no impact on the family system beyond the 3rd generation. That is not a thought, that is observation. So he has observed it. The same is now with the 2nd order of love, who comes first. He has observed in his family constellations over 10 years that there is a certain order. And if this is not acknowledged in the family system, an imbalance is created and suffering for the family members. That is the meaning of the phenomenologic approach. So you observe, you're finding similarities that always the same. For example, the brother of the grandfather, let's say the brother of the father, can always be entangled with what is it for the brother of the father, the nephew or the niece, yeah, but not the great grandfather. That has been observed, and then the rule has been formed saying, okay, the siblings of the 4th and further generations do not belong to the family system. And then the rule is tested, meaning you would represent other family members that you think they don't belong to the family system. You would place them as well, and you would see if do they have an impact on the issue or not, and or the dynamic, and you would find no, they don't. So then the rule is tested. And this is how he has developed the 3 orders of love. And they are, because the phenomenology is also acknowledged as a scientific approach, they are also, this is why we can say they are also scientifically found, these orders of love. They are not thought out or what else can I say, thought out or made up or anything like this, right? So having said that, this is why the orders of love work so wonderfully in the context of family constellation. Now we see what the 2nd order of love holds for us. The first we have to look at the order of birth. So we have the mother, we have the father, and we have the child, right? We talked about that yesterday. We always think about the sperm and egg situation, that's mother and father, because the family system is concerned with passing on life. And by the way, if we haven't talked about that yet, for the family system, it does not matter how long life lasts. Yeah. So even if a child is conceived and is a stillborn child, we know it belongs to the family system as equally as somebody who becomes 80 years old. Yeah. So there's no distinction. There is no better or lesser in that. We have the siblings. There is also a certain order of precedence we will look up, and also in the adoption cases, we will also look at the order of precedence again. We will also talk in this context about missing children. And then, of course, there are the grandparents. They can be before father and mother. They have been born before father and mother. And finally, the ancestors, as you have, seen yesterday in the animation. We are looking back 7 generations. We start with the mother because the mother has the greatest impact on our life. However, I would like at this stage to warn you, if you watch old Bert Hellinger videos or do you read his books, he says always the father comes first, not the mother. And I think that has great, of course, that is true in one way or the other. However, from the need of the child, the mother comes first, and that is undisputed. Yeah. So we are looking, when we are looking from the child, we are looking at the mother as the one who comes first and not the father. When you are constellating a family constellation and you have the nuclei family, mother, father, child there, and I can actually demonstrate that with my figurine, if you remind me later after the break. The right order, the right meaning when there is no imbalance in the nuclei family, the father would be on the right side of the mother, and the child would be either on the left side of the mother or in front of the parent. Yeah. So when you have a family constellation where you see the representatives are naturally drawn to this configuration, then you know there is no imbalance. The imbalance or the issue must be somewhere else. When the representatives are either placed or move themselves in a different way, for example, the mother is to the right side of the father, the child is maybe behind them, yeah? That is for us an indication that there's an imbalance. That is not good nor bad. That is neither right nor wrong. It is an indication. Yeah. And we would never, and I will repeat that a lot during your training, we would never suggest anything. We would never suggest to the mother to move to the left. Unless we have a very, very good reason for that, which would be the exemption. Because we want to, in the staying in the phenomenologic approach, observe what happens. Yeah, we want the representatives connected to the morphogenetic field being moved by the soul of the family member they are representing, because only this movement is healing. We placing representatives around are not healing anything. Only when the souls move, when they are moved by something that comes from the field, then a shift is happening. And that is a difference to therapies, that's a difference to family therapies, that's different to role play and style therapy and whatnot. There are so many where you have an idea, man on the right, woman on the left, child in front. That's how it should be. If they are not standing like this, you would move them around, look at them how they and move them around in the right order, yeah, and then ask them how they feel. That is fine. That has all its place, but it's not a family constellation. Yeah, because the souls are not moving. That is all for the mind. It's all interesting information that you get, yeah. But we are not interested in information in this form. We want to see how the souls are moving. So, long story short, we start with the mother. You can start with the father. That's fine. Although in modern times, the woman also provides for the family, and often there is no father to provide, and the mother is not only the one who gives birth, but also to provide for the family. Still, in the family constellation, and only there, the man stands on the right and the woman on the left. Yeah, that has nothing to do with daily life. That's just how it looks in a family constellation. So I would like now you to introduce your mother to us. So I just, if you have it on the computer, I stop sharing and then you can share. Hang on. Let me just put that on. Participants can share. Right. So if you have a photo, just hold it up or into the camera, or great, David, you start. Okay, let's start with David. There's a little bit of a glare on it. It's a little bit bright.
It's in bright sunshine when I took the photograph.
Aha, okay. Well, anyhow, where's your mother there?
There.
Over there. How old is she?
So I grabbed this very quickly yesterday before I came. I literally left the house about 20 minutes after we finished yesterday.
Oh, wonderful. So you actually took the photo. It's an actual
No,
photo from
no. It's a photo of a photo.
Okay. Okay, David, thank you. Would you like to talk about your mother, her name, and whatever you want to share about your mother?
Gosh. So my mother, she's passed away now. She died at 87, so she had a good life. Her name was Doreen. She came from Wales, which is a country in the United Kingdom. She was one of family of 7, and she was the second eldest daughter. She was a nurse. She was a very caring woman, worked very hard, had 4 children. I have an elder brother, elder sister, and then I'm one of a twin. So she, in her life, I think my brother's 15 years older, my sister is 10 years older, and then she had 2 twins that came very late. And I think as a result of that, her life was quite hard because she was working 4 nights a week and looking after the kids, and my mother made sure that everything was clean, everything was cooked. She never stopped. So she was a working woman and had an attention for everything, but never gave a lot of time to anyone. So she was always too busy with what needed to be done rather than giving love necessarily to her kids. I could say a lot more. She was, you know, I had a great upbringing and always admired and loved my mom.
So how would you describe your relationship to your mother in very briefly, in a word or two, or in a sentence?
A loving relationship with my mom.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for bringing your mother to the team. And so we have her support. Who wants to go next?
Okay, I do.
Yes, Yuko. Aha.
It's my parents.
Yes, wonderful. When was this taken?
They look young. 15 years? No, 10 years, 15 years.
Wonderful. So would you like to introduce your mother to us?
How can I?
Her name and what she did in her life and your relationship to her.
Okay, her name is Noriko, and she is now 79 years old. And she was a music pianist up to she got married with my dad, but she didn't like it, you know, doing all this, going to music school because of her parents. Decided her life to be musicians. So then yeah, once they got married, and you know, she's supporting my father, and relationship with me is it's good. Very supportive and very understanding. Yeah, always there for the children, and no pressure, because I think her parents is, you know, deciding the destiny, like what to do. So as my father as well. So do whatever the children want is their wish. So it was, yeah, I'm quite blessed by that.
And how would you, if you have one word or two, how would you describe your relationship to your mother?
Very, very good, but it's also mother, but also very spiritually connected. I don't know how.
So you feel connected to your mother?
I feel connected to this.
Yeah, let's stay connected then. Very good. Thank you. Wonderful. Nice to have your mother with us on the team. So she is supporting your journey as well. And who's next? Tamara, would you like to go?
Okay. Just let me
Yeah,
see
you
how
can
I
share. Mm-hmm.
So what do I do?
You go to share screen. Yeah. Coming up. Yeah.
Okay, so that's my mom.
Very good.
You see it?
Yes, we can see.
So she will be 77 in 9 days. And her name is Liliana, like Liliana. Yeah. She worked as a biochemist in hospital, in a laboratory. And she also worked shifts and everything. But yeah, a lot of love and support. It's just amazing. And for me, this is really emotional. There is so much love. We are so good. So thank you for this experience of love for my mom.
Wonderful. So
And
what
she only,
yeah, go ahead.
She's love. She's love, you know, she's love. She's pure love. But why I'm crying is because she had so many tragedies in life and she overcome everything. Yeah, I learned so much from her about strength, but also she learned me that she lived in the box, you know, she never really opened her wings. And my job is to break all this, and I'm doing this 15 years. So I did it. Now I see I broke free. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. So your word for your relationship for your mother, what would that be?
Love on every level, body level, soul level, and mind level.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Accepting each other. She's accepting me on this journey fully. But we were totally opposite in that sense before. So it's a big, big thing.
So we take love and acceptance then.
Yes.
Good. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for bringing her in. We have so many loving mothers on our team here. I wonder, I wonder what Michelle has to say now.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. So this is my mom. Actually, this was taken a couple years ago. So she recently turned 83. I'm actually going to see her in a few days in Beijing. So she has 5 brothers. Yes, so she is basically my grandmother had 6 children, and she's the only girl, and then she's the second to the youngest. And my grandfather died at a very young age. Actually, it was a tragic death. So she had a very difficult upbringing. When she was like 8 years old, she told me that my grandfather died. and my grandmother had to basically raise all the kids by herself. So she was basically raised by my grandmother and 2 oldest brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was always, she treated them as almost like her father, especially the second brother. And so she is the one who, she's the only one in the family who went to college. And she's very talented, very smart. But then because during that era in China, the Cultural Revolution, because of her family history, and so she wasn't able to go to the top university she wanted to get in. So she had to compromise. And I felt like in her, throughout her career, she's very driven, very ambitious. But then at the time in the country, there was just not so a lot of opportunity for women like her. So I always felt there is that, that there's that desire somehow she could not fulfill. And then so she wanted, I have an older sister, so she wanted us to, being girls especially. So I remember at a young age, she tried to instill in me, just try not to get into drama, get to an earlier stage, not to date, not to pay too much attention to clothes and those kind of things. And to her, that's just eliminate distractions for being a girl and then just excel at school, So there's that achievement-driven kind of way of bringing us up. So I think my relationship with her, because my grandmother actually basically lived with us, and from caretaking perspective, my grandmother, that's what I remember. I don't remember too much of this physical care and taking of that physical closeness with my mother. But she's always the one who is bringing us up kind of spiritually, the one who disciplines, the one who sets goals, that almost, my father actually performed more of a feminine role. So my mom is more the masculine role in our relationship. So over the years, I think now she's getting older. I think she's getting softer, and I actually felt our relationship is getting closer. And then she's less, headstrong, less trying to control. So,
Wonderful.
and she's a source of inspiration for all of us. She's at 80 years old. She's learning all kinds of things.
Did you mention her name, or did I overheard that?
Oh yeah, her name is Ru Hui.
Thank you for introducing your mother to us. What is your relationship to your mother? Can you find a word for it?
I think it's getting closer, I feel, over the years. And then that closeness is more at the spiritual level. Somehow there is still a little distance. I couldn't really describe. I think it's the
good. We take that. We take distance. That's great. Thank you. Wonderful. Right. Awesome. So if you stop sharing that, then we go back to my slides.
Oh yeah, sorry. Where did my control go? Can you stop sharing from your end?
Maybe. Let me check.
I missed that control bar disappeared.
Okay. Maybe you just have to put your mouse up or something like that. No,
yeah,
I can't.
That's what oh yeah, I'm sorry because I
Wonderful. Okay, now now that we have all the support of our mothers, we can go ahead and look at the mother relationship and what it holds in the system of Bert Hellinger. Not coming up. Okay. So there is a very famous quote, you might have heard it before, from Bert Hellinger: success has mother's faith. And that is actually literal. Yeah. If the mother relationship is in balance for whatever reason, yeah, we have problems to be successful. Not necessarily in the job. It could be anything. It could be a relationship. That is often the case, unfulfilled relationship, or not find the right partner, money problems. It could be that somebody can't go the aspired path, the path of passion towards something they want to work with. They stay in a job that is that they don't like, and they can't find a way out of it. There's many aspects of success is meant here. Why is that? Because one of Bert Hellinger's greatest achievements was to understand that there is a movement towards the mother that is instinctual, and if that is interrupted, especially in early childhood, then the child closes their heart, and cannot receive mother's love anymore. It's very, very common. Yeah. And in family constellation, we have this beautiful method to allow the child, now adult, through a representative even, to fulfill this movement. And we don't need to know. We do not need to know when it stopped, what situation it was. We don't need to know anything. We just need to allow the souls to move. And that is called an interrupted movement towards the mother. And we will perform that in module 4, and you will see exactly how that goes. But you will also see that a lot in family constellation workshops, because it comes up half of the time in family constellation. It's an interrupted movement towards the mother, because it happens often and it's just so profound. So talking about this movement towards the mother, that is due to the deep bond the child forms with the mother, of course, no, in the womb already. That the mother is the universe for the baby in the womb, right? There is nothing else. That's just, it is what it is. The heartbeat of the mother, the voice of the mother, the nourishment of the mother. That's the whole universe, right? This is the deepest bond we will ever have. It is with the mother. With this bond, however, come expectations. So once born, yeah, the expectation is kind of like the mother is continuing like this to be only there for us. Yeah, but that is of course not reality. Right? So then the first disappointment comes through unfulfilled expectation in this relationship with the mother. Mother and daughter, of course, have different dynamics, which you also see in family constellation than mothers and sons. And we will look at them also a little bit closer. What is the lesson we have to learn is first to fully embrace the mother and then to let it go. Because it's such a deep bond with our mother, the letting go is crucial for a balanced and good relationship with the mother. Yeah. So first of all, the bond needs to be established. If there is an interrupted movement, the bond is broken. Yeah. So it needs to be Yeah, I say fixed, yeah, fixed again. And then the next step is, as an adult, to let the mother go, yeah, to be able to grow up yourself and become a mother and have their own children, right? Where the love can flow and continue, give life in this particular family system. We will look at an exercise, maybe now or before the break. I see how it goes. To experience mother's love. And how we do that is, of course, with the method of family constellation, meaning we have representatives. One will represent mother, yeah, for you in this exercise. Let's do it now, because obviously I just see father's next. So let me stop that sharing. Okay, so here's the exercise that we do. I put you in breakout rooms in a group of 2s, yeah? And they will be chosen randomly. It has no meaning. One is representing themselves, yeah? So when there is a group from Michelle and David, Michelle would represent herself, Michelle, and David would be Michelle's mother, yeah? So that would be a representation of your mother. And in this exercise, you have, let's say, 3 minutes each. In this exercise, you would look, Michelle, in your mother's eyes, represented by David. And you don't say a word. And David also doesn't say a word. However, you do observe what you feel. You do observe thoughts that are coming up, feelings that are coming up, and we will share that later. You don't share that in your group. We will share that all together later. During this 2 to 3 minutes that you look in your mother's eyes, I would like you to picture to keep your heart open. Yeah? And also, if this is hard to do, just notice that. You don't need to force it. Yeah? And then when the time comes to an end, and I will notify you, I will come in and you will hear my voice. I tell you time is up, swap now. You have still time to try to say something, one word, and that would be please. So I would like you to see if you say after this 2 minutes to your mother, who's represented in this case by David, please, how that feels. Yeah. First of all, notice, can you say it? Do you want to say it? Secondly, if you say it, how does it feel? Does it open your heart? Does it feel widening, or does it feel awkward, or does it feel hard to say? Yeah, just notice that you're not sharing that until we meet again. Then, and the mother representative is saying nothing. Yeah, nothing. No comments, nothing. We will share everything in the group again. Yeah. Then we will swap in the same group. And now in this example, David would represent himself and Michelle would be represent David's mother. And in this case is as well, David looks in Michelle's eyes, who's the mother, for about 2 minutes, noticing what's going on in the body, in the emotional body, in the mind. See if you can keep your heart open. While if it's easy or if there's a resistance, and then after this 2 minutes, you have a bit of time to try to say please. Only please. You cannot say anything else, and you cannot add anything. It's just this one word, yeah. And then you try it and you see how you resonate with it, and you're not sharing anything in your group. And then we come together, and then we will share what you have experienced. Okay. Right? Right. So any questions before I put you in the breakout room? You good?
So
You will decide when you're in your room. You will briefly talk who starts, obviously. Yeah. So you just decide who starts. Yeah. And then after you have decided who's representing themselves and who's representing then obviously the mother, then you stop talking.
No, I mean,
Okay.
who keeps track of 2 minutes and then say please?
Yeah. You have 2 minutes to look in the eyes, and then you have a few more seconds to find out if you want to say please. Yeah.
Okay.
And
David?
Child is saying please.
Only the child. The mother says nothing.
so
David?
if in this situation where I'm the mother, what am I doing? I'm just being quiet.
Nothing.
That's it.
Yes.
Am I observing the way that I'm feeling?
Yeah, because you are representing the mother, and it would be interesting to know what the mother feels when we
Okay.
share. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you will hear my voice in around about 2.5 minutes. All right. Very good. So who was in one group together? Michelle with
Yeah, Tamara.
Tamara. Okay. Would you like to start sharing, Michelle or Tamara?
Sure. Yeah, so initially Tamara was the child, I was the mother. I can share. Do you
Yeah.
want to go first, Tamara, your child, or yeah, so me as a mother, I felt like 3 stages. The first half, I felt very peaceful. And then in the middle, I somehow my heart starts to feel like full. I feel like a pressure. It's not the sad kind, it's more like full of love and connection, that kind of fullness. Little bit heavy. And then kind of went away, went back to just feeling peaceful again. And when she said please, I felt a little bit sense of relief.
Here we go. Very good. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your observation as a mother. That gives us a clear picture, or me gives us a clear picture. I will explain that to you. And how was this when you were a child, Michelle?
When I was child, I think in the middle, I start to get a little bit emotional. I feel when I was looking at Tamara, I wanted to get close. It's like no gap at all, like complete closeness with my mom. But I wasn't really able to. I think there was I got a little bit emotional. And towards the end, when I was saying please, I think I was pleading for total acceptance from my mother.
Very good. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for sharing. We will discuss that when everybody has shared. Tamara, how was it when you were the child?
So when I was a child, I felt immediately full bond and recognition, like recognizing each other as a souls. And I had so much of this that I felt in this moment, probably it was the middle, that it's too much for her, of my love and my creativity and my happiness. And I was like, I'm so open and and she loves me, but it's a little bit too much for her, I felt. And then then actually it's also like just vanished in like it's okay, you are you, me, I am I, and we don't need to be the same. That was like she doesn't need to be like me for me not to be afraid of her. I was not afraid to be maybe different or like full of energy and she's in different mood or whatever space. I was okay with it. And the please came easy. But it was a lot of love, a lot of heart, emotions. Actually, I wanted to write down because I was like, I will forget all this. It's so much. It was so much of like all the life went through, you know, like all the movie from the childhood till today.
Wow, in
You
these
know?
2 minutes.
Was like this, very fast and a lot.
Yeah. Wow.
For me, it was like this.
Mm-hmm.
And we were
Well,
laughing,
yeah.
changing faces a lot during this first one. We were like, really like, was like this. For me, I don't know. It was so much. It was like almost again overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the end was different. The end
Yeah.
went like some different. It was relief. It's peace for me. And when I was mother of Michelle, I felt like this. I see you, my child, but you need to be strong, and you need to do. It was like I'm holding your space. I cannot show emotions now because I'm holding your space. You know, it was like if I couldn't go out from this space. You know, I was in the space where I'm holding the space. You know, the space was transparent. We had communication, but yeah, I could not hold her. You know, I could not reach to her physically at all. You know,
Yeah.
and then I had to explain to myself that it's okay because that's all I can do now. The best I can love in this moment. This was my word. My
And what happened when she said please?
oh, I felt so much sadness. Like this wall maybe was not the goal. Maybe I was supposed to break heart and wall and hold my kids maybe on the street with no money, but you know, it was very strange. Like I cannot get in this. I could not get out of this construct. It was very strong belief that I need to hold space for my children.
Very good. So
even sacrificing the love.
Yeah.
Like
Very good. Yeah. So talking about the relationship from Michelle and her mother, what is clear and what you can observe is that your mother Michelle has an interrupted movement towards her mother. That is clear. And we will go through that either here in the course or in one of the open workshops, in one of the in the practice workshop. We will address that. Yeah. And then on the other hand, the relationship. Did we talk about when you were a child? Yeah, we did. Eh? Yeah. And the other relationship, Tamara's mother and Tamara. What is missing here is the letting go. Yeah. Yeah. And that is, we will also address this, of course, and you might even be able to do that just after understanding the importance of this. Yeah. So, and that was a very good representation of Michelle as well as your mother, because this not being able to let go puts this pressure on her heart. Yeah. It can be love, but love comes in many forms, no? And it can be also too much
in my life.
Too much and too much pressure, too much responsibility, too much this, too much that. And today we will also talking about balancing the relationship to the mother. So that would be something that comes up here. Very good. Thank you for sharing. Isn't that not interesting how well we can represent out of nothing, out of the blue, the mother of somebody else? Very good. Okay, Yuko and David, who wants to start sharing?
Yuko,
Okay. Either way, you or me or
you go.
okay. So okay, what do I say about
What have you observed when you were yourself, when you were the child, and David was your mother?
I felt openness and trusting. She's trusting and looking at me, and I don't know.
Did you feel drawn to your mother? Did you feel drawn to your mother? How far away did you picture yourself from your mother? Like if you would be in a room, would be right before you, or would there be a step or two between, or 10? What do you think? What? How did that feel? How did that feel?
She's close to me,
Mm-hmm.
but she is more like don't know. She's here alive, but she's more like oh, like not altar, but like light, like I don't know. It sounds strange, but like an angel, like she is blessing. She exists, but it's
Mm-hmm. And how
in
does that
front,
feel for you?
close, but it's not close.
Mm-hmm.
I always have to be, because she's always there for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I have to stand up, and then like, but she's always, you know, there, and oh, it's interesting.
Mm-hmm. See?
We're so close, but
Mm-hmm. So close one and so far away at the same time.
yeah, she's close and so far away at the same time.
Mm-hmm. She's been put
And-
on a pedestal.
Hmm?
She's been put on a pedestal. Pedestal? How do you say that, David?
Yes.
Pedestal?
Pedestal. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
So
Good. Very good. We'll leave it there. And how did you feel when you were representing David's mother?
she keeps a lot inside, but
Mhm.
she's looking at David. But it changes the energy because she's a mother, but at the same time, some point I felt like mother, but a bit more masculine, like a father kind of feeling, but mother, or some dense feeling, not too strong, but like had to be strong like this
Mhm.
way. Then after became more strong, you know, she became very strong woman, and it's like become a mother kind of
Mhm.
different kind of, yeah.
Right.
Then but really look after him, like really, but
Mhm. Right. And how was that when he said please? Did anything change?
warm, like
Warmer?
yeah, warmer.
Mhm. Oh, I forgot to ask you, how was that when you said please to your mother for you?
Connected.
Yeah. Better than before? Or was she still the glowing light? when you said please?
It's connected closer.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Good, very good. Good. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so David, start with you as a child. How was this when you were looking at Yuko as your mother?
It was my mother passed 14 years ago, so it was kind of, my mother's felt distant from me, and she was there, so it's lovely to see. It was almost like a friend was coming back, and seeing her face, and remembering her and feeling her presence was very comforting. So it's nice.
So where did you feel this? Where did you feel this comforting in your body?
It was just a warm feeling all over. It was just
all over.
I felt very calm and connected. It was just there wasn't any particular place in my body. Just
okay.
It was just happening in the moment, which was lovely. Just nice.
And how far away have you pictured yourself?
Close.
Very close.
Very close.
Yeah. Right
very
in front of
close.
her? Or
yeah, right in front of me.
Okay.
The thing that I felt, I did feel some anxiety when I had to say please.
Ah, yeah. So share what was going on when you had to say please.
Well, it was just I just was aware that to ask was a lot, because she had so much stuff going on, and I felt an anxiety to ask for anything.
Right.
And I could feel that in my chest.
Yes. Very good. So did you say it?
Yeah, I said it, but it was more of a please, Mum, I was wanting something.
Did that change after the, oops, we lost somebody. Did that change anything in you, in this overall feeling of warmth when you said please?
I think I went from calm to slightly anxious, so I just was aware there was a shift in
Very good.
feeling.
All right. Okay. So that's interesting to make a mental note or put that in your notebook. Also something that we would need to address in the course of this training. Okay, now we all want to know how it is for you to represent a mother. That must be, is that the first time? Or have you done that before?
Yeah, no, I've kind of done similar things before. Not, yeah, maybe not more male, more masculine than.
Yeah.
It was. I had a great sense of calmness. I felt very, very calm, and I felt just felt the presence of the gaze of a loving child. It was just very, very calm, very, very just gentle. It was just a very gentle moment. And yeah, that for the whole 2 minutes, I just felt extremely calm, just as if something was there in the space, which was just love. It was just nice.
Did anything change when she said please?
No.
Okay.
No, it was fairly, yeah, it was a similar kind of space.
Wonderful. Very, very good. Thank you so much for sharing this experience that that you just had, meeting your mother and being a mother. I haven't asked you before, who has children? Dave, Misha, Yuko, you have no children?
No.
And then we need to ask Tamara when she's back. Yeah, very good. So the other thing is, in family constellation, when we all get the chance to represent other family members, we also feeling emotions and sensations that we otherwise would never feel, because in this example, feeling to be a mother when you have no children is something you would otherwise never have, right? And so we go through all of this widening of our own perception just by being in the field of family constellation, just by representing it. You don't even need to constellate to have this completely new opening and new experience, right? That enhances. Tamara, we didn't ask you, do you have children?
Yes, two.
2 children. Very good. Okay. Right. So let's go back to my slides. Right. Now we look at the father. We look at the father's expectations or the expectations towards the father and the letting go. But first of all, I would like you to introduce your father. And I have to share, so I shouldn't have shared that. I have to stop sharing again and allow you to share. Here we go. So who wants to introduce their father first? We all have a go.
I can do that.
Very good, David.
Then if you can you see that?
Yeah, that we can see better, yeah?
Okay, so that's my dad. He was 90 when he died. He died about 10 years ago. And he was the youngest of 8 boys in his family. And he was a hard-working man. He was very corporate and had a very strong temper. And you always knew to keep on the right side of him because he was quite an aggressive man. But over his life, he started to mellow and became a lot more emotional as he got older. And I felt a bit closer to him as time went by. But he wasn't really a man who had much emotional intelligence. He was about getting you through your life and out into the world. And then you made your own way. So he was, he provided well, but I wouldn't say he was a loving father. He didn't really know how to give that. He gave lots in other ways. So yeah, and he was, I always admired him for what he was. He was a man who stood his own ground.
Very good. How would you describe your relationship to your father?
Uneasy.
Good. Very good. Thank you for sharing and bringing your father to the group. So we also have his spiritual support. Who's next?
Okay, so I do.
Luca?
Okay. So, okay, what do I do? Describe
You show a photo of your father.
It's
Very
my
good.
father.
What's his name?
Koji.
Okay.
His name is Koji. And he's loving, caring, very responsible person, always be there for mother and children and family, so dedicated. But I don't know. He's very caring and doing everything that he can do for us. But I know his love is, but somehow I cannot get close to him. I mean, we talk, but not really talk. And I'm always grateful and everything, but still I cannot show like I would do to my friends or my boyfriend or anybody like this, and I don't know what this is. But it's nothing wrong. We are very yeah we're in a loving family and parents, but this has this distance. It's not, they're not distance from me. I think in me keeping some distance, even I'm very few close to, and I don't know what this is.
Yeah, very good. Well, we will find out maybe soon in the next exercise. How would you describe your relationship to your father with one word? Is it distant?
No, so much trust and just love.
Let's take trust. That was the first that came. Yeah? Thank you for sharing, Yuko. Next one. Next father.
I can go. Yeah, I'll share my screen. So this is my father. His name is Shi Jun. He is 85. He just turned 85. His mother died when he was an infant. And then he has always been distant with his stepmother, and as a consequence with his father a little bit. So growing up, I was actually, I didn't really know my father's side of the family very much because he's kind of distant. He's the oldest, and then he has siblings. He has 2 brothers and 2 sisters. He's the oldest, but then, he's kind of the half siblings with them. So there's always that on his side of the family. That's the dynamic. I think after he got older, especially towards the end when my grandfather had health problems, so he started to show up more and then to go back visit them. So that's a period, and then he got closer with the siblings, his own siblings. He's very kind. He has a very soft heart. You couldn't bear seeing people suffer, not just people, animals, little ants. He wouldn't even kill an ant because so growing up, I felt, I mentioned my mom played more masculine kind of role and he's more the feminine role. I remember the examples I remember, like physically caring for us, that's from my father actually. And he has this insecurity in him, and he's sensitive, and then I feel like he's vulnerable in some ways, and he has a lot of anxiety. He's had anxiety for years, and now at his age, the anxiety is getting worse, depression, anxiety. So, but also that I felt my relationship with him, he's really, especially over the last few years, he became like the total acceptance. It's like whatever I do, and I really appreciate that aspect. That has not, I think that has been a change from the relationship with him. So that part, I felt like now I'm closer with my dad. Well, tiny bit, with my mom is also close, but there's still that gap with my mom. I think I'm just looking for that total acceptance from her. I think with my dad, I don't feel there's that distance.
So what word would you use to describe your relationship with your father?
I would just use acceptance.
Acceptance. Very good. Thank you for introducing your father to us and bringing in the group.
Yes, I will now stop sharing.
Yeah. And Tamara, your turn.
Am I sharing?
You're sharing the Zoom window. Yeah.
Story, yes.
Yeah. Ah, yeah. Oh, that must be from the what? The 60s?
It's like
70s?
70s.
Yeah.
Yes. Like yeah, beginning of 70s.
Yeah.
Have any other in a computer or home here?
Mm-hmm.
So his name is Mario, and he was also working in this health space. He was dealing with viruses and things like this, and healthcare institutions. And this is how my mom and he met. You know.
Mm-hmm.
He was a football player. Actually, he was a gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
He was always having a very big sense of joke and fun and like not wasting the life, having going everywhere and really enjoying life, but not in a bad way, in really this poetic and really let's say from heart full living, to feel all the smells, all the music. He was very much into music, so for me as a dancer, he was like opening everything, that I should follow my dreams, I should work the work that I adore, not something that I don't like. So very supportive in that sense. And actually, yeah, I think he saw in me his dreams a lot come true, that he was not so free of decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And we had great relationship. We are actually very similar in that characteristics. And yeah, I felt his vulnerability. He was actually not a strong man from prototype, but he was emotionally so open and big. How do you say it? Jesus Christ, empath, that, and he didn't understand that, so that's why he was actually, he didn't know how to understand his emotions. He was a man with a big emotional part, and that was the gap, so there was he was losing there in that space. He didn't know, himself from the right perspective fully. So
Very
and then
good.
yeah, this weakness of the man, who doesn't know how to repair the car or all this. He was not doing all this. So this was my mom. So it was a little bit like Michelle's mom. So the
Wonderful.
space. The dreamland, and mom was the practical surviving mode land.
And
So
how
yes,
how would you describe your relationship to him?
love and fun.
Fun. Love and fun. Very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, everyone. So now we are complete. Let me go back now to my slides. Here we go. So, father is also, of course, a deep love and bond. However, it's very different to mother. Father, while mother is our deepest love, the hardest to let go of, father's love is more securing life and stabilizing it. Yeah, and I have heard you said you are perceiving mother and father sometimes is the father's more the soft one and the mother is more the male one. Yeah, that is all good. But in a family constellation, these are all perceptions of personalities, right? But in a family constellation, it is different. In a family constellation, we are not going with these, and we don't see that neither, these personality sides. What we are seeing is the soul movement and the instinctive energies. And the instinctive energies and on this level where we talk about love is where it resides. There, the father's love is securing and stabilizing life. Yeah, and he can do that from wherever he is, while the mother has this instinctive energy to nourish and care, and she can only do that when she's there, right? So that is an important understanding when we work in family constellation with mother, father, child, that when this movement towards the mother is interrupted, has a greater impact on the life of the child as when the movement towards the father is interrupted. However, the movement to the father can be interrupted, and we do see that in family constellation. So we cannot only say it is towards the mother, it's also towards the father for this safety and security that the father is providing. That is the quality of father's love. When we say the quality of father's love has nothing to do with his personality and how he appears in life, right? And the great thing is when we are, and you will see that in the next exercise, when somebody else is representing your father or your mother in a workshop setting or here in the group, something else comes up, right? Something else comes up that you would never know. Like, what is the quality of love they are carrying and their relationship to their children. So the expectations are different to the father than to the mother, and that is also instinctive. The expectations of the child towards the father is to secure the life and make it safe. Yeah. The letting go from the father is in general easier because the bond is not so deep as to the mother. However, this letting go process needs to happen as well. Otherwise, there would not be room to grow up, become an adult and have children on their own and be an adult to the children, a parent to the children. So this letting go process needs to happen as well. So father's love, what I just explained, is this instinctive love to give safetyness and security. And children's love is that, to receive it and not to block it out. And not to think I can get it somewhere else, or not to think that I don't need that at all. I can look after myself. So before we can let go of mother or father, we first need to fully embrace their love and what they offer. And our need, that we need this love, yeah, which we express through the word please, yeah. This is how we express the need, that we need this love. So, children, any questions as far as we talked about mother and father and father's mother's love? Okay, so children come in the order of birth. However, I have to make a disclaimer. Of course, not every child is born from the family system. Some die before they are born, aborted, miscarried children, for example. So we have to think of the time of conception, yeah, if we include these children who hasn't been born. But for the sake of discussion, we say birth order. You know what I mean. We have, of course, siblings. Siblings belong, as you know from yesterday, to the family system. They also belong in the right order, meaning in the order of birth. Yeah. So when, let's say, the father was unfaithful and had an affair, and there was a child born, and then the father never disclosed that to the family, and the family stood together, and then they had more children in this family, then this half sibling belongs between the siblings that are part of the, the order of the siblings of his main family. We talked about miscarriage and abortion. As far as adoption goes, we talked about that yesterday. The adopted child from another family that becomes an adopted child of this family does not belong per se to this family and has also no place in the order of children. Yeah. So, and that is not, and we are not forcing that. That is something you can observe in a family constellation. This child who is adopted and doesn't belong to the family system via birth will most likely not want to be there at all, if it is even represented, because as it is not part of the family system, it has no impact. So there is no entanglement or anything like this. Yeah. So just to let you know that this is not a mind concept, that is something that you actually see, as always, in the family constellation. Let's talk about, before we go to the specialities, let's talk about the birth order. What does it mean? Like the order of precedence, what does it mean? So the order of precedence is clear as far as mother and father are concerned. Mother and father come before the children. I mean, that's as easy as that, right? They are born before, and the children wouldn't be born without them. So this is absolutely no question. Mother and father come before the children. Yeah. But the children, or the child, most often due to a childhood trauma, which is most often an interrupted movement, doesn't perceive it like this. Yeah. It wants to come, for example, before the father, or some sons want that, or it wants to become before the mother. It wants to be more important. It wants to be more, more acknowledged by the father than the mother is. Yeah, that's often for daughters. That is an imbalance in the second order of love. They put themselves in the wrong place. Yeah? Instead of acknowledging that mother and father came before, they feel they have a right place here. So that is the same then for their children. If the parents become grandparents, the children become parents, and then they have their own children. This is normally a pattern that is passed down. Yeah. So their children would most likely behave in the same way. And we will see when we talk about dynamics, the entanglement dynamics, why that is and how to solve this. So as we talked about mother, father, child, the father is on the right side, the mother's on the left side, and then the child is on the left to the mother or in front of the parents. That is indicating there is no imbalance. When you include more than one child, you would see that the children naturally, the representatives of the children, naturally are drawn to a certain space. And then you would see if the oldest child is next on the left to the mother, and then the next born, and then the next born, and then the next born, or not. Yeah. And that we just draw out of this observation a conclusion. Not why, just the conclusion that there is an imbalance. Yeah. In the second order of love with the sibling. If there is not a recognized child, for example, a miscarriage or an abortion, or a child that has been given to adoption, nobody talks about that, the representatives of the children will notice that. And that's the magic of the morphogenetic field. They will be unrest. They will actually say something's not right here. They will move around, they will try to find another place, and it doesn't feel right. Until one says, I feel there is somebody missing. Or often they say, I feel cold on the left or the right side, or something like that. Yeah. Or they sometimes leave a gap there. And when we, in a family constellation, place another representative there, everybody starts to smile. Everybody having sighs of relief, because everything comes together. This missing child is at its right place. Everybody's in the right place. Everybody relaxes. So this is what we, when we work with the order of precedence with children, what we most often do. We are adding the one that is missing, the missing child. When we have, when we talk about children, then we often, or not often, but sometimes we have mothers or fathers coming to family constellation with an issue for their child. They have small children, and it might be a special needs child, or it has a severe disease, leukemia, or something like that. Yeah, a young child before 7 years old. These children, they came, let's say, that's a karmic entanglement. Yeah, they come into this family system with these need to unveil something, which is most often a victim-perpetrator relationship, often in the same family system, you know, generations before. So if you see that, in the family constellation, the focus, or if it is about, the focus would not be on the right order of the children. The focus would be of an entanglement with other generation. Yeah. But if we don't have any this dramatic situation in a child of the family, then the first step is to establish the second order, the order of precedence in this nuclei family. It's very important. One step after the other. Grandparents came before the parents, right? So the ones before, that are the grandparents, they need to be acknowledged as the ones before. So also there is the order of precedence, and that goes on for the great grandparents and then for the ancestors. And we express this normally with acknowledging and asking for blessings. Yeah. So grandparents, great grandparents, ancestors, their role is to support the children, the grandchildren, the grandchildren, the great grandchildren, and so on, the descendants. In you know, normally. So when they show up in a family constellation, and that's not an entanglement where we have a victim and perpetrator situation or something else, then their sole purpose is to be acknowledged as the ones who came first. And we do that with asking for blessings. And they would be happily give it. And that would establish then the right order, the second order of love. When we talk about grandparents, and that's just a side note, we will talk about that later. When we talk about entanglements, I think that's next module, then we need to understand that although we have always this order of precedence that one generation gives birth to the next generations, you cannot skip that, obviously, right? But when there are entanglements, they do skip often one generation. So a child is rarely ever entangled with the parents, but with the grandparents. Yeah. Or the parents, let's say the mother, is rarely entangled with their parents, but with the great-grandparents. And that is a pattern that can also repeat through the next two generations. Yeah. So bear that in mind when we are looking for entanglements in family systems, that they do skip often, most often, one generation. So we talked about the role of the grandparents as the ones to either be entangled with or to give support. Actually, shall we have a break now before we go to ancestors? I think so. Let's have a break now. We are a wee bit over. You got your 10 minutes, grab a cuppa and a bite, and I see you in 10. Okay?
Okay.
So we are talking about the ancestors and the order in ancestors, the second order of love, precedence. Then we move on to looking at imbalances. And then when we come to the end of today's part and we have time, then we do our father exercise, okay? So the orders in ancestors is different to the orders in child, parents, and grandparents, and even great-grandparents, right? Because when we say ancestors, we are, remember the group of 240 people, we are talking about the group. And an ancestor is one or more than one out of this group. And we do not need to know which generation they are. Yeah. We even don't need to know their gender or anything. It is an ancestor. Yeah. Meaning there is no order in ancestors. Yeah. It is not that we need to find whose ancestor came first. The only exemption is if we are working with generations. The most common work with generations is a repeated interrupted movement to either towards the mother or the father through more than 3 generations. And that happens. And in this case, and only in this case, Yuko.
I couldn't hear anything what you said. I think
Okay.
please, so will you repeat it? Thank you.
Oh, was I frozen? No.
Yes. For my, you're okay? So maybe it's mine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this case, when we are looking at a repeated pattern where we really need to represent every generation, which is most often in an interrupted movement towards the mother or father, we do need the order also in the ancestors. But then we are not working with ancestors, we are working with generation. Yeah, so that's a difference. When we are working with ancestors, we don't care about the generation. It could be anywhere between 5 and 7. When we are working with generations, we place each and every generation in the family constellation, and we have an order. Yeah, obviously. So the first, like the 7th generation, comes before the 6th, before the 5th, before the 4th. There is that is a clear picture. So if you picture a family constellation with 7 representatives, yeah, they all stand one behind the other. Yeah? That would be, let's say, the row of mothers in somebody's family system. Then the one who's at the very end, the last representative representing the mother is the first. That's the first mother, the first one born. And we start there. We start with the healing there. We start with the first mother born. Yeah. And then we go back, second mother born, third, and so on, to all the way to the client, which would be then the 7th. Yeah. Okay. So that I hope that is clear. Entanglements with ancestors, of course, is often. That's how we work. Yeah, but I repeat, we do not need to nail down which generation that is. Sometimes it reveals itself and sometimes not. In the new family constellation, we do not need to know that. So we don't spend any time and waste any time or waste any resources like representatives in trying to figure out when we see an entanglement in an ancestor, which generation that is. Normally, this is not important.
So we use the word entanglements many times. Can you please clarify exactly what it means? Because
Oh, of course, yes. So, and of course, we will also learn exactly how to perform these entanglements in family constellation. But just for It's just a definition of an entanglement is if a descendant takes over the trauma of somebody that was born before. Then we call them to be entangled. That's a term that we use.
And that's different from repeated patterns.
It can be repeated. It can be repeated. But an entanglement is not the interrupted movement towards the mother. That's a trauma, an original trauma. So an entanglement is, and this is why we skip often generation, when the child is entangled with the grandfather. Let's say the grandfather is a perpetrator or a victim, whatever, yeah, then the grandchild takes over this energy. That's an entanglement. Right? Good. Good question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So
It's something, something related, something.
Yeah. The entanglement is often skipping one in generation, but it's also repeating itself often. Meaning, let's say the current generation is entangled with the grandfather, then the grandfather can be entangled with an ancestor, right? That would be then if they skip the next generation, which would be the great-grandfather, it would be then one of the ancestors. So bear that in mind, that can happen. The right place of an ancestor is always, if it's not an entanglement, if it's an entanglement, they are just represented as a victim or perpetrator, yeah? But if it's not an entanglement, then the right place of the ancestor is always supporting the family, the ones that came before, yeah? So they either show up in a family's constellation as part of a trauma, of an original trauma, most often victim-perpetrator dynamic, or they are there to support and bless the client or somebody before them, yeah? And you can see very distinct differences, and we go through gestures and all these little details later, but it is clear when we have somebody represented, an ancestor, what role they have. That is normally easy to see. Let's talk about patchwork families. It's actually not difficult because the order of precedence has no exemptions, and therefore also in the patchwork family, no exemptions. Yeah. First of all children that are blood related, even if they have just one mutual parent, are in a birth order. Easy. That's what it is. Yeah. Children who have not the same parents. Let's say the mother marries new husband, the new husband has already a family with 2 children and they move in together. These children, they don't belong together. They do not share a family system. They share a family, they share a house, but not a system. They do not share a family system, yeah? So there is no order. They are separate. Another interesting and notable dynamic that you need to know, and you will see, is that former partners come before new partners. And of course, we perceive that completely different. We think our current partner is most important, and the former partner, you know, is history. But in a family system where former partners belong, they need to be acknowledged for making way for the new partner. It is like, it's almost, they can be younger, they can be born after the new partner, but because they were first entering the family system, they have to be acknowledged as such, as coming before. Yeah. And a lot of imbalances you see in relationships, and we will talk about that tomorrow when we look in relationship, comes from not obeying this order. This order changes when the new partner has a mutual child. Because with the child, a new family system is created. And now this new family system comes before the former partner. So when there are children with the former partner, then in the order of precedence, the new family with the new children come before the family with the children before. This is creating a new family system. However, if you look at the siblings, not just to complicate things, if you look only at the row of siblings, the order is still the order of birth. Yeah. So if you would work with former partners who have children, the new partner comes first. If you work with the siblings in a family constellation, they still appear in the order of birth. Yeah. There is no difference in the order of precedence. So the only thing you really need to, the only exemption, if you will, that exists in the birth order, in the order of precedence, is, and in the order of former partners who came first, is when there are new children to a new partner, then the new partner, not the children, the new partner comes before the former partner. So there is a different dynamic, and if this is not acknowledged, imbalance is created. That's the whole purpose of knowing the order, that you can understand where is the imbalance. Yeah, where do we need to apply the healing movement? Where the imbalance is. The bond, however, to the first partner is greater than to the next. Even if the love is less felt because we are loving the current partner more than the former partner, that is no doubt about that, yeah? There is a bond that's, I don't want to say it's like the mother's bond, of course it's not, but sometimes it is almost felt like as intense as to the mother, and it is hard to break, yeah? And this is, and then there is a feeling of guilt involved somehow, yeah? Especially when there are children with a new partner, because now the new partner comes first. Yeah? And there's a little bit of work to do in a relationship issue when you have a client like this, to address the orders in the correct way. And once it is acknowledged, everything is relaxing. Every representative will relax. That is the work that we do. Right? That is the sign that we have achieved what needs to be achieved here, restoring order in the family system. You had a question, Yuko? Was it? Or did I see that wrong? You have a question, Yuko?
The second one, new partner. Yes, the new partner comes before means, I don't know. You're talking about how to place the piece. Sorry, maybe my language is something. It's
I can barely hear you because you're breaking up a lot. But I'm not quite sure if I understand your question, Yuko.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Not very good.
Because new partner comes before means no.
Right?
Can you hear me or no? Okay, so new partner comes before means like first new partner, then the second the one before, and it's you're talking about before means how you place the people,
yeah,
right?
How you place them, how they acknowledge each other, how they give respect to each other. Yeah.
So the new one comes at the top.
When they have children.
Yeah, top best.
When they have children, otherwise not.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
We are briefly touching the orders in organization, the second order of love, order of precedence. We are not going in details because we have that in module 5, right? So when we are consolidating organization, and we can easily consolidate organizations. That is one of the main branches of family consolidation, if you will, and it's very well known to do that in, for example, in Germany, and I know in South America, and also in Eastern Europe. I have heard in Russia this is very popular. That means that a client comes not with an issue in the family, it comes with an issue in their workplace, right? And we use the same orders of love to consolidate organizations, but the second order of love precedence is different in an organization to a family constellation. This is why I talk about that here in this place. Yeah. So instead of the order of birth, so in an organization, it's not like who the oldest comes first, like who is born first comes. This is not the case. In the order of organizations, we are looking at functions, and that is determined who comes first. A function or a department of the company that are all replacing generations and children and siblings and all of this, what we are used to when we're looking at a family constellation. So the first of all, the order function. Function means who has enabled this whole organization to exist. It comes first, right? That is like the first ancestor, if you will. Who was that? Was it the founder? Even if it's not mentioned, or even if it's unknown, if this person is unknown, we have as a facilitator think of who has founded this organization. Yeah, they come first. And then the next one is the organization is like the father that secures and stabilizes this organization comes next. And that is normally, when you think of a hospital, that are not the doctors. These is the administration. So the administration is, or the CEO and the administration, depends on what kind of organization you have. They come, they are to the right hand of the, they are to the left of the founder, yeah? Whoever's the founder of the organization. Even if it is a retired, that's like an ancestor. It might be retired, might be dead, but they still need to be represented in a family constellation and honored in order to see where the imbalance is in this organization. And then the next function is the people who are actually doing what they do. So in this hospital example, there would be the doctors. They come then after in the third place, if you will, yeah. And then of course, then there are then the nurses and everybody else who's assisting and enabling. They come after, and then there are of course the clients or the patients. It's not that coming first doesn't mean, how can I put it? And as we just discussed with Yuko, coming first means in a family constellation, acknowledging, yeah? It doesn't mean that in real life they have a ranking. That's not what we mean. We are solely talking about a family constellation, yeah? That's clear. So then if you look at an organization, at a function, let's say a department, let's look at the administration of a hospital. Within this department, now time spent becomes the next step that is giving us the order. So the one who has spent the most time in this organization comes first before the one who has spent less time. But that is only when you look within a function, within an entity that is one function, not within the whole organization. And when you look then it's like looking through a kaleidoscope, you look, or a microscope, you look deeper and deeper and deeper. Then after time spent, the education is creating the order in organization. Yeah. So who has a higher education comes before the one who has lower. However, who was first in this department comes before education, right? So if let's make an example, we are in the administration. There is a accountant for I don't know 30 years now, yeah, and then there comes a younger employee who has a higher education. Let's say he has a PhD in whatever, yeah. Still, the one who is there for longer comes before, meaning the new one needs to acknowledge their role and their place, yeah. Even though they might tell them what to do, because they might have, you know, the function to, they might on top, if you will, or the boss of the one who is longer there. There needs to be, in order to not create a balance, there needs to be this respect shown towards the one who was there longer. Yeah? If that is not shown, the imbalance is created. And that has consequences for the whole organization. And that is why you do a family constellation for organizations, because you want to find where the imbalance is, right? Because you don't know it. Because if you would know it, you wouldn't need a family constellation. You would just fix it. But no, there is like a client comes, he has an organization and he said, something's not right. I don't know, we are not thriving. Something, you know, we could do better, or we are always facing this and this and this. And then in the family constellation, it can show that the imbalance is created within one department where the second order, the order of precedence, is not obeyed. Yeah. So this is how we help in organizations. And once, if you have huge organizations, then the next step is responsibility. Responsibility is then the next step down after education, right? So who is more responsible comes before the one who is less responsible. So what is the right founder here, if you look at it? And as I said, I do it briefly because we talk about that much more later on, yeah? The founder, the shareholders, whoever is has created or is still creating this organization is at the first, it comes first. It's like an ancestor, needs to be acknowledged. Administration before production, yeah. Administration is placed to the right side of the CEO. The CEO is not the one who comes first, it's the administration, because the CEO is not nothing without the administration, right? So it's like the administration is securing and the CEO is kind of the role of the mother, yeah, on the left side of the administration. And then we talk about people that are working and that are actually doing the job in the organization that we expect them to do or to see. We talked about time spent, and who was there always comes first, yeah. And that is something that really is. There's another thing lacking. I'm not sure if I should mention it. I mention it here. Most often the customers are overlooked by the client in the organization. They are so busy with themselves, the organization, and the problems they see, that when they ask for representatives for the organization, they completely forget about the founder and about the clients or the customers. Yeah. And that is also an interesting aspect, because then there is also this exclusion, first order of love, belonging. They all belong, and if they are excluded, then that is also a sign of a disorder in this organization. So I'm not going to demonstrate that here today because, oh, we might have actually time. We might do that. Shall I do that? You would like me to show you that? An organization on the board? It's
Why
up to
not?
you. Up to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that. And then we have our father exercise, of course. We won't forget that. So I just need to share my camera. Let me quickly set that up. Okay. Hang on. Here we go. So here are my figurines. Here are my figurines. That's what I work when I'm working on one-on-one. And now let's make a real demonstration. Somebody of you surely works somewhere where you want to look at a problem. Anything comes to mind? It doesn't need to be a big organization. I mean, it can be a smaller one, as long as it's an organization. Anybody? Michelle?
And talk about the previous company I worked at.
Yeah.
So what would you like me to talk about, the scenario?
Whatever comes to your mind. What is about the organization? Is there anything that feels off?
It's a startup company. It's small, but it's very strange. I went through 2 rounds with the company, talking about my belonging to the company. I went in and out, and then when I went in again, and then left again. So the company kind of started out with a founder in the very beginning, but then by the time I left, there was like 7 years in between, and it went through several rounds of different leadership. The founder, initially he founded it with his brother, and then there were some issues between the brother. They had a fallout, and then so that caused one brother left, and so the company went through a growth phase where at one point had like 50 employees, but then at one point it had to lay off most of the people, and then completely change leadership. The founder left, was forced out basically by the investors. Okay. And so new CEO went, and then the new CEO wasn't able to, we're kind of just trying to sustain a company, keep on getting funding, but not able to really keep growing the company. So by the time I left, the company essentially on the path of slow dying, and then changed to another CEO. But then miraculously, the company is still surviving. I just don't get that why the company is still not dying.
Okay, we might not figure that out today, but what we can do is that you talk us through. We will grab figurines here for the different people involved in this company. So starting with the founder. Who was the founder of the company? The very first founder.
You mean I just pick anyone?
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I'll pick that. There's this blue one in the front. The tall blue. In the first row, the tall blue one. Yeah.
Okay, and then who came next?
The founder was a brother. So two brothers.
So 2. Okay, who's the other one?
I'll have a green one that's slightly smaller.
Slightly smaller. That size?
Smaller, not too small. Yeah, the cylinder one. Because
Okay.
it's a, yeah.
So these are the founders. What was next?
Oh, I think the founder's wife was part of the core. She's basically running a lot of
This is why
things.
maybe we had already the female.
It's a female, so the wife is actually kind of, I feel she needs to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I have the red, tall red,
That one?
triangle. The
Oh,
red
the
one.
red. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, instead of the white one.
So
Yeah.
that's the founders. Who comes next?
You want me to go through everybody that I know?
Or the functions. Functions first before functions. So these are the founders. We can also
Yeah.
just put one figurine for the founders for the ETH, you know.
Is it include investors?
But then what other department do they have?
Well, yeah, department then started with engineering.
Engineering. So now let's take another figurine for engineering.
Oh, I'll pick a black
The
cylinder.
black here or the black there, or not so big?
Just medium black cylinder.
That would be the one here, right? So that's
Yeah,
engineering.
yeah.
And then what else? What other departments do they have?
Engineering, I think in the very beginning, it was mainly just engineering. There was and later on there was product management.
Okay. So products, where would that be?
Product, I have a green, triangle.
That one?
Yeah, because your video is lagging, so I think slightly bigger, I guess.
Bigger than that, that would be probably this one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. And who did the administration?
There's not very much administration, because at the time those functions were just outsourced, not within the company really.
That's fine. If it's outsourced, it still belongs to the company.
Well, there was really not very much in
No
the beginning.
invoicing, nothing like that. No
There
human
was,
resources.
yeah, finance. That's what I'm saying, that this very that's not the main part of the company. The company is very much of a Silicon Valley startup in the early days, and it had very little marketing and sales either. And the founder basically did all of the fundraising.
And where are the customers?
The customers, well, that's a big problem for the company throughout its history. Is there has been just only a small number of customers.
And who would that be here? Representative of the customers?
Oh, I think I'll pick a small, yeah, a small cylinder.
What color?
A green.
Like this?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So if this would be now a client consolidating, of course we would need to add the client, right? Because this is just the company, the organization. Now we need the client. Yeah. So let's put Michelle as a client there too.
Oh,
What was your
well,
role?
I'm a little confused. So am I, because the company had a different kind of different incarnations.
Aha. Okay.
So which one? I'm starting with in the very beginning.
Aha.
But then now, if you look at the company now, it's very different. So,
Well, we are just demonstrating here. Let's take the beginning and put you in there as representing yourself with one of the figurines.
okay. So actually, I would be just that product figure there, that green.
Ah, yeah, you would be the green one.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So to make it more easy, we take these two out because we are just representing the founder with one figurine. Yeah.
Okay.
Now we have four. We have the founder, we have engineering, then we have production or products, and then we have the customers, right? Okay,
Yes.
let's look at how would you place the figurines on the board.
Well, the founder is in the middle,
Yeah.
and the engineering is close to him, but behind him. Probably to the left. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the product would be next. Well, the product would be kind of towards the right of the founder.
Oh, I have to
And
swap
slightly
that. You don't see. Yeah. You don't see that
and
correctly.
slightly behind him.
Like this?
Oh, I thought it got swapped. I thought the product is to the right.
Yeah, it is to the right of the founder.
Oh, maybe on the screen I see the opposite.
I just changed it. I hope that you see it now. This is the founder, and this is his right side. So the figurine is on the right side of the founder.
Well, I see left. I don't know what other people see.
How do you see that left? We all see the same picture. Anyhow, go ahead.
It's to the right of the founder, if you're the founder.
Well, I don't know why.
Even if I move it around, the figurine always stays to the right of the founder.
Okay.
Doesn't matter from where you look.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Well, all right. Yeah, that's fine.
And now, and this figurine, does she move?
Which figurine?
This one.
The small one? Oh, the customer. Yeah, the customer is kind of. Yeah, the customer is in the front, in front of the founder with some distance.
Like there?
Yeah.
Okay. And now we look at this, the side where they look. You see their faces, so we decide where they look. Is there anything anybody needs to change their side of the line of sight?
I feel like the founder is looking backward.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. the founder is looking backward, and then the engineering is looking towards the right and kind of to the side. And the product, yeah, the product is looking to the engineering.
And here?
And actually the product has a distance. There's distance with the founder. The engineering is close, but the product is further away. Yeah. Nobody's looking at the customer.
Yeah, I see that. And where's the customer looking?
The customer, yeah, that's fine. It's looking somewhere, but not us.
Just somewhere. Okay. Right. Very good. Okay. So when you now think about what we just discussed, the second order of love precedence in organizations, and I actually can also put a family up there so you see how the difference. What do you see? What's going on here? Like, obviously, there is nobody in the right order, right? Absolutely nobody. The founder is the first one. He should be supporting everyone. So he should look. So, and now I demonstrate, we're not doing a family constellation here, I'm demonstrating, yeah? So now, if we would have found all the problems, whatever was behind, then an order would be established, then it would look like this. The founder would stay not in the center, but here, in the back, yeah? Looking at everyone, right? That would be that, right? And
Yeah,
then there would
feel
be,
much better.
and then the engineer and the product, or the engineer would be probably in front of him and the product in front of him. Something like that, yeah?
Yeah.
And then the customer would be closer and looking at them all. And the customer would also be taller, not that small, you know?
Yeah.
The customer would be probably also have a brighter color to be more a happy customer.
Yes.
Yeah. So if this organization would restore balance, yeah, it would look like this. Yeah. And that means the one who is here, the founder, is supporting everyone, including the customers. Yeah. And then the next one in line would be the engineers, because obviously the administration was done by the founder themselves. So then that would be the engineers who are creating something to sell. And then there would be the product, who is the end product of whatever the engineers creating. And then the customer would go straight towards that. Yeah. So this is a picture how it would look like, and like this or similar, yeah, when the order would be restored. Okay. And now I show you a family. So we take these as the ancestors. These are the ancestors. Then we will take 5 generations. Let's take this for the great-grandfather, this for the grandfather. Well, let's make it man and woman. Let me just check here. That would be great-grandfathers. That would be grandfather and grandmother. That would be parents here. And that would be the child, yeah? So just, let's put in, so there we have the order. You can see, of course, when you have represented them, people, they would say where they find there, right? That is the right order when the family system is in balance, yeah? The ancestor would support, they would all, hang on, and they would look back. And you see the similarity to the organization, right? It looks very similar. So in the end, to constellate an organization is the same as a family constellation because it follows the same orders of love, yeah? So here we have the ancestor, He is supporting everyone. We have the male figurine to the right of the female figurine. That would be the great-grandparents. Then we have the same here in the grandparents. Then we have the parents here. Yeah? And then we have the child. And the child is looking at all and receives love and blessing from them all the way to the ancestors. Of course, we never see this in a family constellation, right? Because otherwise they would never come if that would be like this. Nobody would come because nobody would have the urge to heal anything because there's nothing to heal, right? So in a family constellation, we see a completely different picture, and I just make it up now. It would be something like that. Maybe like this. Something like that, yeah, whatever. That is how a family constellation looks like. Now, our work is not to move the figurines around and put them back to where they were, yeah? Not at all. Our work is, I put a facilitator in there. Let's take the orange one. Our work is to go there and to find where the strongest dynamic is. And here in this random picture, the strongest dynamic, no, you tell me. Where do you think is the strongest dynamic? Which person, which family member you would start with working with?
Is that a dead child? What does that
It
mean?
is what it is. That's what you see. Where would you go? You are the facilitator here. Where do you feel is the strongest energy? And everybody,
Well,
everyone.
I first see is that figurine that fell down. That's
That
flat.
one. Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody agrees, or anybody sees as something different? Yes, David agrees. Tamara?
Well, definitely, but the red one and the one on the floor are something. There is something.
Yeah.
It's very strong.
Yeah. So as a facilitator, you would not ask the representative to line up in the orders of love, yeah? You would go to there where you find as the strongest energy, and you would start with finding what meant, which we learn next module. Yeah, you would start to unravel the imbalances. And then, maybe, unlikely in this kind of scenario, but maybe after many, many constellations, the family would stand like the first picture. Yeah, because everyone found its right place in the orders of love without being put there, because they moved there. And they can only move there when the imbalance has been cleared. And that's the magic of what we do. Right? Okay, very good. So I take the figurines back home, and then we can do our exercise, our father exercise. Okay. Same exercise, this time with the father. Yeah. Other group, I will put you in different groups. We have 2 minutes where you represent yourself and your partner's representing your father. Then I will tell you to say, please, if you can. You're still observing. Yes, David?
Just telling you that my battery is telling me that this could die at any minute, so I'm just letting you know in advance.
Okay, let's be quick then. Be quick then. You know what you do. Be quick. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Here you go. Okay. Did we lose Tamara somewhere in the web? In the World Wide Web? Who was in the group with Tamara? We may start with the other one. Okay. So Michelle and David, would you like to start?
I'm just trying to get them. Michelle, do you want to go? Because I'm just playing with the gap, trying to find out what's going on here.
Yeah, I can start. I was the child first. Throughout the whole time, I felt like here, yeah, somewhere in the stomach, upper stomach here. Just feels tight here.
All right.
When I got emotional.
What emotion?
And I felt,
What emotion came up?
no, I just feel, because I know my father, he has various health problems, and then he's been, dealing with anxiety and depression. He's kind of boxed himself in, just physically, mentally. He is suffering. And I really feel sorry, feel sad. And I just, wanting to kind of for him to feel free again, to feel light again, to be liberated again, that kind of, yeah, that's how I feel, just feel this sadness.
Sadness. Okay, very good. And then when you said please?
Yeah, when I said please, it's almost like, please don't go.
Ah. So what is missing here? The letting go. Very good. Very good.
When I was
Hang on, Michelle, before we go further, I have a little exercise for you at home, just you. You think of your father and see him in front of you, and you say to him, not please don't go. You say to him, please, I need you. Yeah? And then just let that settle in, and then you can move on from there. Yeah?
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So now swap roles. You are now the father of David. How was that?
Yeah. So I felt like pretty quickly there's something in the heart area. I feel some sensation and then a little bit warmth, and then kind of starts to up in the throat area. I felt like a tingling on my tongue. And then eventually still settled in here. Like that's where I feel most of the sensation is on the throat. And when he said, please, Dad. And that's when I really here starts to feel tight.
Interesting. Does it ring any bell for you, David?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think is sitting in his throat? What is he not saying? What is he swallowing?
I don't think he ever found his voice.
Mm-hmm.
He was always just too angry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It looks like that he is entangled, maybe with the victim in his family system. Well, it will come up when we continue to work. Don't worry about that. Okay, so David, you were yourself. How was that?
I was myself. So I was the. Which one do you want?
Which
Me
one ever?
looking at my dad. Okay. So when the first time I was the father, and Michelle, and I spent a real reverence in her eyes. I just felt that there was a real. It made me feel very warm inside. There was a love and a deep reverence, which I found very calm and very strong. I felt the strength of it, which was and when she said please, it was with a deep love and reverence, which was touching. I
Good.
felt it in my heart.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
And when I was the child, I felt very sad. I felt pity. I felt it was kind of something in my chest that just didn't feel that it was right. It was almost like something was missing.
When you were
when
when you were your so take me with you.
When I was myself looking at my dad,
Yeah.
I felt sad and I felt pity. Something in the hole just didn't feel like it's all there somehow.
Yeah.
And I felt very sad, very emotional when I had to say please, because I didn't think he understands what I'm asking for. I just don't think he gets it.
So when you said the please, what came up for you?
That he didn't understand what I'm asking for.
How was it for you to say please? Was it lightly, or did you had to force yourself?
It didn't come easily.
No, I was wondering about that. In this relationship, in where what became clear when Michelle was talking about the representation of your father, that your father is entangled somewhere in the ancestral line. The father is not present for the children. It cannot be. It is impossible. Yeah. And this lack of presence is creating with the children an interrupted movement towards them. Yeah. And the typical sign for that is in a family constellation that one cannot say lightly and from the heart, please, Dad, I need you. So we see this then dynamic here in your father and most likely in the paternal line. And I'm sure that that's going to be addressed in one of the workshops.
But I feel like I could say that to him, but I don't think he would understand me.
Yeah, that's a trick of the mind. So anyhow, that's great. This exercise is already moving. Yeah, it's not a theory. It's a real mini family constellation. So it is a first step in the direction towards your mother and your father relationship. Good, thank you. So now we have Yuko and Tamara.
Okay.
You go. So I wrote down this time because I was really needing. So first I was a father of Yuko, and I felt the first emotion that came was very proud. I felt so proud, beautiful, and then I felt warmth and love, and then I started to feel fear. But then I was observing this fear, and then I felt it's like it's my responsibility to respond to every demand. But the demand for me in that moment was like, maybe I will not be able to do it. You know, it was like always on the edge of my possibilities. I always was, this is how I felt in that moment, that it's always will be tension for me about, will I be able to sustain the ask, what is asked from me. It's very cool, very proud, but proud on you as my kid, and maybe over respecting the woman, you know, in that sense. A little fear towards daughter.
Would be interesting to see, Yuko, the relationship of your father to his mother.
Oh, my father to my mother.
No, to his mother.
Oh, because when he was 10 years old and he had to go to separated to study. So, you know, they have, my father had older sister and younger brother, and the eldest passed away.
The eldest passed away?
Yeah, eldest daughter. And older sister, because of that time, older sister and two older sisters were still there, so the mother had to take care, and it was like a war, after war something, so she couldn't take care of it. So she asked my dad, she asked this lady who took care of my grandmother to ask to raise my dad. And also he had to go to Tokyo anyway to study to become a doctor. So it's a lineage, you know, the doctor now is nothing, maybe less, but you know, those times, father doctor and expect to be the eldest to become a doctor, something like this. So automatically he was, yeah. And then 10 years old, he is,
yeah. That's still an age where the child needs the mother.
Yeah.
So very good. We found that. And what happened when you were a child, Tamara?
Well, I've been through many processes about these 2 years, so I recognize. I mean, immediately felt the same. I felt his emotions. I didn't feel so much mine. Like he said, he's disappearing. So it was all about him. You know, he's like escaping the emotions that hurt him, and he cannot face them and escape them, and he cannot also let me go, like, you know, and he sees I'm fine. So I felt gratitude. Yes, I did. First that came like, thank you, I learned everything what I need from you. Like, yeah, I felt very, very aligned with my, but then I felt he didn't solve anything. And that was my experience. He feels guilty still about not being better man, better father, better husband, better everything.
Did you say please?
Oh, I asked him, please see yourself. So I can be free, because I felt I cannot let him go before he sees himself, you know.
No, you cannot let him go before you have fully embraced him who he is.
Yes, and he passed away 2 years ago. So, you know, it's I really went many, many times through this. It's very clear, but now I see energetically the soul level. He's still here.
Of course he is. because you still need him.
But you know, so many times I forgive him, and
Yeah, that's not the right place of the children.
yeah.
So
Okay, yeah,
there's
that's
a
it.
huge imbalance.
I know, because I lost my brother when I was a kid. So they lost the firstborn, and you know, I was taking care of them all my life.
Yeah. So that's obviously
So,
the case. So there's lots to
yes.
do. Wonderful. I'm glad you're on the training. We will work through all of this in the course of the time. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Yuko, you're last.
Okay, so being Tamara's father, okay, I felt all of a sudden I felt the energy from inside out, and he is looking at Tamara as the way he wants to look at him to her or something, but it's proud and very it's confidence. He has a confidence, his own way of looking. Tamara is good because that's how I see it. See that kind of, so it's nothing bad, but it's not so much of a communication from Tamara and this. It's more like she's good, is that
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
proud. So that was the energy.
So this is the place that I need, right? That's the missing point, right?
Very good.
Yeah. And me to the father, I felt warm. He is doing everything that he could do for me or for the family, so much love and everything, but also I felt worried because he's so trusting, but he doesn't know how to, only he can provide that. To be as a father is just give what he can do, loving and caring and as a father figure, but don't know of this child how it's gonna, it's normal.
How does it feel being the child and feeling worried about your father? What does it do to you? Do you feel strong? Do you feel happy? Do you feel free?
My father is worrying about me, and me,
yeah. You are the child. How does it feel?
It's pressure.
Yeah.
Because I want to be good as I want him to be happy, and he's happy always, but this energy, I don't know.
yeah, no, it's clear. So you see, and interesting that it comes more up with the father than with the mother, which is in this group, which is interesting because we often have the other way around. So you can see that with every one of you, there is an imbalance in the father relationship for totally different reasons. Yeah. And they all play up in their own ways. So for all of you, I have this exercise that I just talked to Michelle about. I would like you in a quiet moment, you don't need to do it often, whenever you feel you want to do it, sit down, look at the picture of your father, or close your eyes, see your father in your front, and see yourself small. See yourself as a small child or sitting down or something, so you can look up to the father. And do not interpret anything into your father. Just sit there, feeling small, looking up, put your hands on your heart or open up your heart, whatever you feels right to engage heart energy, and say as wholehearted as you can, please, Dad, I need you. That's it. And don't think about it, and don't try to think what they think, like the fathers, just you. It's just about you. Yeah? just about you. And if you feel it a little bit awkward, or if this is not really coming from the heart, repeat it. Just repeat it and see if it changes. Okay, wonderful. I leave you with this for today. I have an assignment for you for tomorrow. I would like you to bring a picture of your partner. Yeah, for tomorrow's meeting. If you do not have a current partner, choose a picture of an ex-partner. And in the unlikely event you had no partner, choose an object that is representing the potential partner. Clear?
And if you have a new partner without kids,
Yeah, definitely. You choose this partner who is the closest to your heart in this moment. Right? Okay, awesome. I wish you a lovely day, most of you, or night.
Thank you
See you
very much.
tomorrow. Bye.
thank you.